This side of this video disc will deal with cosmetic body repairs that do require repainting, including how to make repairs to the plastic soft fascia material that is being used increasingly to help reduce weight, withstand minor impacts, and eliminate corrosion in many areas on our vehicles today. The soft thermosetting plastic parts that are used in some vehicle applications, such as front fascias and lower valences, are made of resins that will absorb minor impacts and jabs without damage. However, if the force is great enough, it will gouge, puncture, or tear. The first point we want to make is that holes such as these, and even many major tears, are repairable. The parts do not have to be thrown away and replaced. To demonstrate this, we have removed the damaged part to make it easier to see the repair technique. The first step in repairing a puncture such as this is to clean the area around it thoroughly with a wax, grease, and silicone removing solvent, applied with a water-dampened cloth, and then wipe it dry. Next, sand the area around the puncture with a DA sander with a 180 grit disc to remove the paint in and around the repair site. The repair material must not overlap the painted surface. When the paint is completely removed from the area, take a clean 2 or 3 inch sanding disc with a number 50 grit and enlarge the opening that will be contacted by the repair material to assure good surface adhesion. At the same time, an area about 1 inch surrounding the opening should be tapered in to provide additional contact surface between the base material and the repair material. When the sanding is completed, the area should be thoroughly cleaned again to remove all dust and loose particles. Then, before applying the repair material, the back of the opening should be thoroughly cleaned and taped with aluminum auto-body repair tape to provide support for the repair. The prepared repair area should look like this. Next, prepare the repair material. On a clean, flat, non-porous surface, such as metal or glass, squeeze out equal amounts of the repair mix, such as 3M flexible parts repair material or an equivalent. Then, with an even paddling motion to reduce air bubbles, completely mix the two components until a uniform color and consistency is achieved. When the material is thoroughly mixed, it is applied to the prepared area with a squeegee or plastic spreader. Apply a light coat to the entire area first, and then add material to the tapered opening until it is slightly higher than the surrounding area, and let it dry for 20 to 30 minutes at 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. After the repair material has dried, check it to see if there are any low areas, pits, or pinholes in it. If there are, additional material can be spread over them to fill the holes and raise the area as needed. When the repair material has dried, establish a rough contour to the surrounding area with an 80 grit abrasive on a sanding block. And then block sand with a 180 sandpaper followed by a 240 sandpaper to achieve an accurate level with the surface of the part. Final feathering and finish sanding can be done with a dual orbital sander and a 320 grit disc. When the final finish sanding is completed, the area is cleaned to remove all dust and loose material. It is then ready to be painted using elastomeric primer and regular body paint with elastomeric additive. Repairs that involve attaching surfaces that are cracked or broken, or tears that reach through an outer edge that affect structural strength, require an additional reinforcing step, but they can be made just as effectively. To begin with, the torn part is aligned and then secured on the front side with body tape and clamped in position. The back side of the brake is then cleaned thoroughly with wax, grease, and silicone removing solvent using a water-dampened cloth. After the area is dry, the brake is sanded with a 50 grit disc out to 2 or 3 inches on each side to make sure no foreign material is present and to expose the base material to the repair material. When the area is prepared, cut a piece of fiberglass cloth large enough to overlap the break by about 1.5 inches all around. On a clean, non-porous surface such as metal or glass, squeeze out equal parts of the repair material, such as 3M O5900 or an equivalent, and mix them thoroughly until a uniform color is achieved. Then apply about 1/8 of an inch coating of the repair material to the prepared area on the back side of the part, overlapping the break by 1.5 to 2 inches. The pre-cut fiberglass cloth piece is then pressed firmly and smoothly into the adhesive and immediately covered with another layer of repair material to completely fill the weave of the cloth. After the weave is filled, allow the repair to dry for 20 to 30 minutes at 60 to 80 degrees Fahrenheit. Then check it to be sure the area is completely filled and secure, and trim off any excess material around the edges if necessary. After the reinforcing repair is made on the back side, the front side of the repair can be made in the same way as a gouge or puncture repair, cleaning and sanding the area to remove any foreign material and paint and to expose the base material to the repair material. In the case of a tear or break, a small diameter 50 grit disc is used to sand a tapered groove along the line of the tear to expose additional base material to the repair material. When doing this, care must be taken not to sand into the reinforcing repair on the back side. After the preparation is completed, the front surface can be repaired the same as would be done for a gouge or a puncture repair. In addition to soft and flexible plastic materials, rigid plastic parts can also be repaired using the same basic techniques. For gouges and punctures not affecting structural strength, polyester body fillers can be used. Damage that does require structural reinforcement should be backed up by fiberglass cloth and additional repair material. Remember, damaged plastic parts, both soft fascias and rigid components, can be repaired and do not automatically have to be replaced. The last two modules on this side of this video disc deal with subjects that have been released previously on videotape. The first one is abrasion-resistant coating repair. This lower body protective coating was introduced in the late 1970s to reduce damage to the lower body panels from stones and abrasive materials thrown up by the front wheels. The coating is applied in the assembly plant before the vehicle body is primed. The lower body is masked off, and the protective coating is sprayed on both sides to a thickness of 15 to 20 mils, after which the masking is removed while the coating is still wet and the body goes on to the prime coat spray line. To restore this protective coating during body repairs or to make new applications in the dealership, two materials are available. The first is the abrasion-resistant coating material. It is sprayable, chip-resistant, requires only air drying, and can be color-coded. The second material is vinyl paint pre-cleaner, which is used to clean the spray equipment after applying the coating. To use this material effectively and to make successful repairs or applications of the abrasion-resistant coating, you must follow the directions. To demonstrate the repair of this coating, we're going to use a car that would have been on the road for a while and might need such repair. In this case, a Fairmont wagon that has sustained some damage on the lower rear of the driver's side door. To begin with, the area to be repaired is masked off to protect the finish on the surrounding areas. Since the abrasion coating on the entire panel must be replaced, the whole lower panel of the door from the character line down is masked off. To begin with, the old material is softened with a heat gun and scraped off with a putty knife, or it can be ground off. Make sure all the previous coating is removed to provide a smooth surface for the new coating. When as much of the material is scraped off as possible, sand the area with an orbital sander with an 80 grit disc. After the initial sanding, make any sheet metal repairs that are necessary using conventional methods. And then finish sand the entire area with a fine sandpaper to prepare the surface to receive the coating. The next step is to clean the entire area with a solvent wipe of silicone and wax remover using a clean, lint-free cloth. After the repair area is cleaned, the next step is to mask off the rest of the car to protect it from the coating spray. This is an important step that must be done very carefully to assure a smooth final finish and blend into the rest of the door panel. Begin by placing the masking paper and masking tape 1/4 to 3/8 of an inch above the top edge of the coating area, which in this case is right along the character line. When the masking paper and tape is in place, finish the masking by putting a piece of Scotch fine line masking tape along the upper edge of the coating area. This should overlap the original masking tape just slightly and will form the margin for the upper edge of the coating. This will help to achieve a clean edge where there is a thick buildup of material, as there is with the abrasion-resistant coating. After the area is properly cleaned and masked, the next step is to prepare the coating material. This is designed to be applied right from the can without reduction or straining. It should be stirred according to the directions on the can and poured directly into the paint cup, in this case, a Rotunda 2-quart remote pressure cup. Next, set the cup pressure at the recommended 15 psi and the gun pressure at 30 psi. With the proper pressure settings, apply 3 full wet coatings of the material to the prepared panel. This is applied directly to the metal, which should not be primed before the coating is applied. Allow 3 to 5 minutes of flash time between coats. It is essential to apply 3 full coats to achieve the 15 to 20 mils thickness. If enough coating is not applied, it won't provide the desired protection against stone pecking and similar damage. Immediately after finishing the 3rd coat, clean out the spray gun and cup using the vinyl paint pre-cleaner. If you allow the coating material to set up in the gun, you won't be able to clean it, and the gun will have to be thrown away. Air drying time for the coating material depends on the color finishing material used. If you are refinishing with acrylic lacquer, allow 1 hour drying time at about 70 degrees Fahrenheit. If you're refinishing with acrylic enamel, allow 2 hours of drying time. Before spraying with the finished coat, remove the original strip of fine line masking tape, pulling it up and away from the protective coating. Then place a new strip of fine line tape just slightly above the upper edge of the coating. This will ensure full coverage of the finished paint. Using the protective coating as a primer, apply 4 medium wet coats of finished paint to the panel, following the directions on the can for reduction, spray pressure, and flash time between coats. As soon as the 4th coat has been sprayed on, remove the fine line tape, pulling upward to avoid touching the wet paint or damaging the brake line. This completes the job with the same texture and appearance as the original factory coating. As we said earlier, the abrasion-resistant coating material can also be used to make complete new applications in the dealership. To make a new application, first determine where the brake line will be, either at a molding strip or a character line, and mask off the area. Then, solvent wipe the surface with silicone and wax remover. When the surface is dry, scuff sand the area to be protected with an orbital sander and 180 grit sandpaper. This is just to remove the gloss. The surface should not be sanded down into the primer. When the gloss is removed, the surface should be wiped clean again. and the coating to be applied using the same procedure that was just covered for making a repair. On replacement panels, remove the primer before applying the coating. Whenever the coating is applied over bare metal, the metal should not be primed first. And when finished painting, the coating can be used as a primer coat. Our next subject concerns the proper procedure for painting over e-coating. Most replacement panels are shipped with a protective e-coating on them to prevent surface damage or deterioration in transit and during storage. Before painting, the surface of the panel should be examined carefully, and any pits, ridges, or uneven areas sanded out until they are smooth. After the complete panel has been inspected and sanded perfectly smooth, it should be solvent wiped clean to remove any dust and residual foreign material. When the panel is dry, it can then be sprayed with the prime coat prior to finishing with the color coat. When using a replacement panel that has been e-coated, it's important to remember that the e-coating cannot be used as a primer. E-coated panels must be primed before they can be finish coated. Side 2 of this video disc has shown you ways to repair gouges, punctures, and tears in soft and rigid plastic parts, used in many soft fascias and trim areas on vehicles today. With these repair methods, these parts will no longer have to be replaced automatically. We have also reviewed for you the methods for repairing and applying abrasion-resistant coatings to lower body panels and painting on e-coated panels. All of the cosmetic body repairs covered on both sides of this video disc help you to keep your customers' cars looking factory new and maintain their pride of ownership that keeps them satisfied and coming back year after year. A complete summary and outline of all the procedures covered on this disc are contained in the reference book.